Many of you have commented on my previous videos, and I've learned that many of you are still unfamiliar with this game or are starting to play it again. So in this video, I will provide a brief guide for beginners, especially those playing in 2025, because this game has many changes compared to the initial release. We will talk about the 5-star characters in the standard banner that are best to focus on at the start of the game, the 4-star characters that are really worth building, and other tips that will be very helpful for new players to improve their accounts. So I'm Hoyostation and we will start the video right away. Let's do this. Do you have a character or weapon in the game that you really want but you don't have enough stellar jades? Here is a smarter way to recharge your favorite games like Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. Look no further than Lootbar. Lootbar is the most reliable top-up platform. It saves up to 23% for all orders compared with the official channel, and it provides an 80% off for your first purchase. It's 100% safe as you will only be using your UID. We will buy pack for 3000 stellar jades for $42, which otherwise would have costed $50. Totally saving $7.5. We received the crystals we purchased in the less than 3 minutes. All recharges will be done through the official channel with miHoyo, which allows you to enjoy all top-up offers. Ready to level up your gaming experience? Check the link in the description to get the amazing discount. First, let's talk about the characters in the standard banner that are good for beginners, because they are still useful in today's content. The first character I recommend is Himeko. She is a member of the Astral Express with the Fire type and Erudition pack, and her kit is pretty simple. Her skill attacks 3 enemies with fire, and her ultimate attack hits all enemies and causes fire damage. One of the best kits from Himeko is her talent called Victory Rush. When the enemy is hit by a weakness break, Himeko will get 1 charge. If the charge has reached 3 points, Himeko will launch a follow-up attack on all enemies by using all charge points. Himeko is especially good in pure fiction content, especially when paired with 4-star Herta, which automatically produces a lot of follow-up attacks in pure fiction content. If you plan to take the Herta in the next banner, Himeko is a good choice to pair with her. This makes it easier to complete stories, simulated universe, divergent universe, and endgame content such as MOC, Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow. The next standard character that I think is suitable for new players to take is Bronya. Bronya has a special ability that increases the actions of other teammates by 100%. This means that she can give an extra turn to our characters in a single cycle. Her ultimate ability also increases the damage dealt by her teammates. Bronya is perfect for players who need more turns to deal damage per second. She is a good character for beginner players because she works with many types of characters, especially the ones that appear at the start of the release. The third standard character that I think is still worth taking is Clara. Clara is a DPS with the physical type and destruction path. Her gameplay mechanism is quite different from general DPS characters. Clara can launch a counterattack when she is attacked by an enemy. The more she is attacked, the more counterattacks she can launch. Clara is still relevant because she performs well on MOC and Pure Fiction. With some simple team combinations such as Clara and Lynx, these 2 characters can be quite effective in completing content at the beginning of the game. Now, what about other characters? I don't recommend taking Bailu, Gepard, Weld, and Yanqing because their kits are less competitive in the current meta. Let's talk about the 4-star section, which is great place for new players to start. If you're just starting out in this game, I highly recommend focusing on 4-star characters first because they're usually easier to build. The best 4-star character to start with is Herta. This character is available for free at the start of the game. Even though she is a free character, Herta is a good choice for the early game because she has similar abilities to Himeko. Herta's talent launches an advanced attack if the enemy's HP is below 50%. Also, Herta's performance is getting better because of the current meta. The combination of the Herta and Herta is becoming popular in endgame content, making this character very valuable. Gligar is another best 4-star character. As an experienced player, you probably still use him in endgame content, right? That's because he's a fire-type character with an abundance path, which makes him very useful on almost all teams. He also works well with break teams like Himeko Super Break, Firefly, Rappa, and Boothill. His ability is straightforward. He gives all enemies besotted state when he uses his ultimate attack. And if a teammate or Gligar attacks an enemy with the besotted state, it restores the attacker's HP. This kit is the best value among this character. Right now, characters like Castoris and Mighty require a lot of HP, so Gallagher's value is even higher in the future. Pela is the 4-star character that's still a good build right now. She is relevant in the current meta. Pela is an ice type with an ability path that reduces the defense of all enemies by 40% for 2 turns. This makes your DPS deal more damage, of course. Many characters can benefit from this debuff because defense reduction is a common debuff. If you have Acorn in your account, Pela is a pretty mandatory character to build until you acquire Jiaochu and E2. Tingyun is a character that can be used in many teams. She has a lightning type with a harmony path, which can increase attack power and add extra lightning damage. Her ultimate can increase damage and also restore 50 points of energy to one character. This will be very useful for DPS characters who need a very consistent ultimate to support their kit. Tingyun can currently be paired with many types of characters, such as Daneng Il, Yunli, Jingyuan, and even Aglaya, who was just released a while ago. Okay, now we will move on to the next segment, which is about team recommendations suitable for beginner players. In this video, I will provide 3 team recommendations that are quite friendly to beginner players because the character requirements are not too difficult, but can produce quite good damage output on almost all content. For the first team that I highly recommend, I suggest the Erudition team, which consists of Zerta as the main DPS. This team is often used for endgame content because it has a high damage per second output. The team composition is also easy to build because most of the characters are 4-star characters. Zerta is the main damage dealer and Serval is used as a battery or as a support character. For support, use Remembrance MC, which you can get by completing the story on Amperius. For sustain, use Gallagher or another character with similar ability. For new players, I also recommend the Burning team, which consists of Mighty and Castoris. Currently, the best characters to add to the Mighty and Castoris teams are Sunday, Tribi, and Wowo. I know it will be difficult for new players to get all of these characters, but don't worry, if you have just played this game, you can replace these characters with others that are very easy to get, like Bronya, RMC, and Gallagher. These 3 characters are also quite effective with the Burning team, although they're not the best. Currently, Mighty and Castoris are quite good when facing the current endgame content. The last team I recommend is the follow-up tag team. We use Fei Xiao as the main DPS character. As the sub DPS character, you can use Moza, who helps add stacks from Fei Xiao. There's also a very free-to-play friendly option for this team, the March 7th Hunt, which you can get from the event. For sustain, use Gallagher, who can attack enemies to help fill Fei Xiao's ultimate stacks. This team is also good for new players because the character requirements are easy and you only need the main DPS. Okay, after we talk a little bit about team recommendations for beginners, we will talk about list of the meta team that is still being used today. I included this content so that new players have a reference for choosing a team. The first team I will discuss is the Acorn team. As I've mentioned in my previous videos, the Acorn team is a team composition that is still widely used today. In some existing data, this team is even still used by more than 50% of players to complete pure fiction. However, this team requires a significant investment of resources to build, as it relies on 2 key elements to be at its strongest: Acorn's dedicated LC and Jiaochu's DPS support. While you could substitute Pela, you'd significantly reduce your damage output. The second team is the Super Break team, which is one of the most used meta teams. This is because it can produce a lot of damage through the Super Break mechanism. If you use Firefly as the DPS of your Super Break team, you don't need to worry about the enemy weakness type because this team can be used against enemies of any weakness type. This makes it suitable for use in Apocalyptic Shadow, which requires us to break the enemy's weakness. To build a Super Break team, you need 2 things: the main DPS, which includes Firefly, Rappa, and Boothil, and the main support for the Super Break team, which is Ranmei. For the third team, there's a follow-up tag team that you can use right now. As I mentioned before, this team is one of the best because the team composition is quite easy and can be used for a variety of endgame content. But if you want a premium team for follow-up attacks, you should invest in a character named Robin. This character is one of the key characters that can increase your damage output significantly. You should also take Aventurine, one of the best sustain for the follow-up tag team, because the shield he provides is very strong, guys. The fourth team is the Erudition team, which is currently a meta team in Honkai Star Rail. Since the appearance of the Herta in version 3.0, this team has become a favorite for many players because of this team is very strong and flexible damage output. This team also performs well even though it consists of 4-star characters, so it's suitable for new players. To get the most out of this team, you will need some premium characters like NEWBIE and qualified support characters like Lingsha or Huohuo. The last team we will talk about in this video is the Burning team, which is very new. It first appeared in version 3.1 when NEWBIE was introduced. This team's strategy is to burn HP or health points, using certain characters like NEWBIE. This allows them to deal a lot of damage. The more often NEWBIE is hit or reduces his HP, the more damage he can deal. This is similar to the character plant for version 3.2, Castris, who has a similar set of skills. This team is also good for new players because the team composition is simple and does not require many premium characters. However, this team has a higher risk compared to other teams, so you should have a well-developed build before using it. Next, we will talk about the Litecoin recommendations you can buy at the Herta shop in Simulated Universe or the Divergent Universe. I think I need to include this segment because this info is important for new players. Actually, the Litecoin you choose depends on the character path you want to build, but I suggest taking Cruising in the Stellar Sea, a 5-star Litecoin with the Hunt path. This 5-star Litecoin is a popular free-to-play option for DPS hunt metas like Fei Xiao, and its effectiveness is notable. It can boost your critical rate by 16% and an additional 16% critical rate against enemies with less than 50% HP. After the user defeats the enemy target, the user's attack will increase by 40% for 2 turns. The second Litecoin that I highly recommend you buy is On the Fall of an Eon, which is a Litecoin with a destruction path that will increase the user's attack and damage. This effect is very good and can be used by almost all destruction characters, such as Firefly, Danang Il, Clara, Jingliu, and Yunli. The third option is Eternal Calculus, a Litecoin with an erudition path that increases attack. It provides attack based on the number of enemies in battle. If the user's attack hits more than 3 enemies, it increases the user's speed for 1 turn. This is especially useful for characters like Himeko and 4-star Herta in Pure Fiction, where the number of enemies typically hovers around 5. Finally, Memory's Curtain Never Falls is the latest Herta shop Litecoin and is a Litecoin for the Remembrance path. This Litecoin increases the user speed by 12%, and after using the skill, it increases the damage caused by teammates by 16% for 3 turns. Several Remembrance characters such as Remembrance MC or Aglaya can use this Litecoin. It provides a high speed boost which is useful for RMC or Aglaya. Now we're going to check out the Memory of Chaos shop, which has some great Litecoins and is a good buy, especially if you are new. The Litecoin I recommend is called Quid Pro Quo. It's used by many, even new players, because it gives 16 energy to one other partner for every user turn. This Litecoin is great for characters with high speed, but it's also good for Gallagher because his kit gives extra turn after using his ultimate. Another great Litecoin is Victory in a Blink, which is for Path Remembrance. This Litecoin increases the user's critical damage by 24% on S5. Additionally, when Memo Sprite launches skills to teammates, it increases the damage of all teammates by 16% for 3 turns. This makes it a great free-to-play option for Remembrance MC, as it can significantly boost critical damage. This, in turn, increases the effect of RMC's traces. Then for the next option, you can take a Litecoin called Past and Future, which is a Litecoin with Harmony Path. The effect of launching this skill will increase the damage of the next teammate in action. This effect is very suitable for Bronya to use as a free-to-play option because it can increase the damage of teammates who get preliminary action through her skills. Okay guys, I think that's all for now. What do you think about this guide? If you have something to ask, please leave any comments down below. And don't forget to check out my other videos because they are just as cool. Thanks for watching, stay safe, healthy, and see you in the next video.